I think we can start. And first of all, thank you very much, everyone, to be here. Thank you, Dr. Azadi, for participating. You're welcome. And sure, you're welcome. I'm going to start reading the final exam, but I hope all of you downloaded the data sets and the final exam questions. So you can make sure you have the codes, you have the final exam questions, and you have the codes. Someone is trying to type very fast. Who is that? If you can mute your computer, that should be great. Okay, I'm going to the RStudio. This is the RStudio. I'd like to show you the first of all about the data. Okay, and if you go with this data, let me show you something here important. Can you see my screen, correct? This data set has only 2000 observation. Whenever you run this, you can see here HOSB 2000 observation and 27 variables. This is the final exam data set. If you are after you're running the table HOSP $year, and if you see any number more than this, 1007, 1078 for 2011, and 922 for 2012, if you have any other number, you are not using the correct data set. This is the first point. Second of all, make sure to have you are using the final exam questions. Any of the analysis you are doing is based on the final exam data sets. So make some, I remember the other semester some of the students use the exercise data set. So basically you are doing good with process, but all the numbers are incorrect. So make sure to use any type of analysis is based on the final exam data sets, and it's not more than 2000 observation. So if you downloaded the data set, make sure to save the data on drive C of your computer. UMUC, it is, I'm just repeating that, this is exactly like exercise. If you are using the Mac, figure that out what you did with exercise and do the same thing with final exam data set for reading the file. If anyone just watching this video and did not work with the exercise, you can just you can use this. If you are working with Windows, I have a lots of noise background. Okay, Mrs. Williams, can you mute your phone, please? Mute. Let me mute that. Okay, Miss Williams. Okay, you are okay. I think that's okay. This is the route, the path. I call it path for the final exam. If you are using Windows, make sure that if you are using the Mac, make sure to work with Mac. So probably it's different. It's gonna be tilde slash document slash hmgt final exam .csv. And there's two ways to go with this code. The first way just is to use sync command and then run all the codes one time, and it's going to be as easy as running the code. And it's okay, so let me try this, and you will not see anything here whenever you are using the sync command. You can see there are a few error here. Never mind about that error. As long as you can see the plot here in this plots, you are good. So if you can see the figure number 5D, it does mean you are correctly run all the codes. And whenever if you open this, I believe I save this here CUMUC final exam. This is here CUMUC final exam, and this is it. And you can see all the observation here. This is what you can see. I'm not going to show all of them here, just I will review a few of them to make sure you are running the correct file. Okay, I'm closing this and back to the RStudio and run one more time. Let me open the exercise and go through them by each question. Okay, the first question is, I think it's pretty similar to the question of week 1 exercise or week 2 exercise. There is 5 question here. In terms of hospital, first of all, you need to compare the 2011 with 2012, and then there is a specific question for each section here. For example, the first of all is for about total comparison between 2011 and 12 based on the p-value. The point is p-value. Based on the p-value, you can justify, you can just judge that which of these years has a better performance. Usually whenever you have a p-value less than 0.05 or 5%, you are in the position to say, okay, there is significant differences between 2011 and 12, and to find that which year has a better performance, then you need to look at the mean. Look at the means. If the means, any year with higher means, it does mean the better performance for that specific year. And in terms of socio-economic variables, here all of these variables from 15 to 17, 18 is a socio-economic variable. You can still you need to look at the p-value. But if there are any changes, I don't expect it to see any changes here, because pretty much 2011 and 2012 has not such a big differences, and we need to see that, because if there is a lot of differences in the environment, so we cannot expect it to see to evaluate the hospital performance correctly. And then answer the question number C based on your finding, which year has a better performance. So this you are still the same. You can just look at the p-value and how hospital performance related to the hospital characteristics and socio-economic characteristics. So based on this, you need to compare all the value. If you look at the p-value and there is no significant differences here in the hospital, but you have 1 or 2 significant differences in socio-economic variable, you can say all the differences between 2011 and 2012 is back to socio-economic, vice versa. Or if there is nothing here in the socio-economic and you have some significant variables here, you can say, okay, the most important finding is, okay, there is a difference between 2011 and 2012, but after fixed affecting the socio-economic, the fixed effect does mean, so we consider that, but there is no significant. We understand that, okay, the 2011 and 2012 has some differences, but that difference is back to the hospital character, not the socio-economic character. This is the question number 1. The question number 2, you have the similar question for, I believe, exercise 2 or 3, I'm not sure. And this question has a little bit more work. For example, let's review that. Let me go back to the RStudio and run step by step here. Because you run I believe most of you actually run the Dipler package. If you have any issues with Dipler package, I remember that Dixon from your class, Dr. Azari, had some problem with Dipler package. I believe we share the codes that he can use without using a Dipler package. If any of you have faced to Dipler package problem, I will share the codes without using the Dipler package, so you can use those codes. Otherwise, that it's going to increase the volume of your work, but you can see all the results. Hopefully you will not find any problem with Dipler package, so I'm just hoping for that. We read the file. Whenever you're reading the file, you need to look at the name of variables and then look at the table. This is the table 10078 922 2011 2012. You are making sure this is the file, and then you need to generate two variables. It's this calls generate two variable. Then you need to group the data set based on the year and this code, and then look at the name of hospital one more time. You have two new variables here: hospital per capita bed here, generated here, benefit generated here, and then you need to run this. You know how to do that. I'm just running this section to just show you, and but I will not ever do anything else with this. And if you run this, you will see this result, and it says it's more than 3 more variables, and you know how to do that. You can justify this space by pulling it on the right. So you can click here and in between these two and move to this side and run one more time. You can see all the variables here. In some of your computers, because the deep learning package is updated, and some of you can see the decimal, some of you cannot see the decimal. If your computer is similar mine, there is no decimal here. This is fine. You can report without decimal. If you have a decimal here, you can report by 2 decimal. I don't expect to see more than 2 decimal. And this is a means for 2011, 2012, and this is a standard deviation. You can see that again here. So this is the standard deviation. And then to running the t-test, you need to generate two data sets, hospital 11 and hospital 12, and then run the t-test. I'm gonna run one of them. I'm gonna run all of them, but I will explain one of them. And this is, I'm going to review the last one, the household median income. If you look at the household median income, the p-value is 0.0466. This p-value is more than 5%, so there is no significant differences between household median income. This is the one findings here. And because if you look at the means, we have 50137 with 59704, pretty much similar to each other. And the my table commands give you number of observation, right? This is it. We have 10078 for hospital beds in 2011. I'm not running the other part. You can do that. And we have 922 for hospital bed in 2012. This is almost finished with question number 1, and we are going to review the question number 2 from here. Okay, I'm going to go so fast because we have 30 minutes limits for the first part of this presentation. Okay, compare the following information with the for-profit and non-for-profit. What's the main significance? The main significance is exactly like question number 1, the best t-test, because we have 2 groups here. The best test is a t-test because we have 2 groups, and we say why, which test is the best fit. You can say the t-test is best fit, and why, because we have 2 groups. Use a box plot and compare hospital net benefit. And okay, you know, here some of you did not report all the plots during the exercises. Make sure to report. Okay, the box plot is here in the codes. You just need to report that. If you like to explain, that's okay, but I didn't expect you to report. That's fine. If you want to explain more, that's fine with me, but the question didn't ask you to explain that, so you can just report the box plot. And then show for the question number 4, you need to look at the scatter plot. And the scatter plot, this is a scatter plot. Because I run this code before, I can show you here. I think this is the, okay, the plot I use for this plot number. Okay, this is the box plot, and okay, let's hopefully it can work here. I don't need to run again. Okay, there's, you know, if you face some kind of this problem, this error, there are 50 or more warning, that's fine, as long as you can see the plot. Never mind about this error from the RStudio. This is the box plot. This is a scatter plot. You need to report this as scatter plot. This is scatter plot compare total hospital cost with total hospital cost between for-profit and non-for-profit. Here, this question asks you to just show another scatter plot and compare hospital cost. This is for hospital cost. And compare hospital net. Okay, I believe I report also the hospital benefit here. Did I report that? Yes. The other plot is hospital revenue. The question didn't ask about that. I gave you more explanation here just in case you want to compare that. And compare hospital net benefit. Okay, to answer this question, you know, I explained something here if you wanted to write a code. Otherwise, because you don't need to write a code, so basically you don't need to do anything. And here, make sure this is not, this is the correct. This is between for-profit and non-for-profit. I will fix in the class, but make sure this is for-profit and non-for-profit, because this question is for-profit and non-for-profit. Overall, what are the main significant differences between for-profit and for-profit? So you can look at the p-value here, and is any of them is significant, so you can just report that. So just let me review this one. This section is just, it's not between teaching and non-teaching. This is between for-profit and non-for-profit. Okay, so the question 2 we almost finished. This section of codes started from here. I believe I had a note here. This is question number 2 is from here till here, and then you can start question number 3. The question number 3, okay, this is a big question. Lots of I can say maybe more than 3 or 4 questions here, but it's in category of question number 3. The question number 3 is to test, to use the ANOVA test. We have a high competitive market, moderate and low competitive market, and the right test for this is the ANOVA test. First of all, I like you to just look at the Herfindahl and define the Herfindahl index. I believe in the class I share a link with you to understand more about the Herfindahl index. You can Google it, or you can just use that link to discuss this one. Then compare the following information between hospital located in okay, and then what are the main significant difference between hospital and different markets? So basically this is based on the p-value here. You are just finding that. What's the impact between high competitive markets on hospital revenue and cost? You know, you can answer this question with 2 ways. The first way is just to look at the p-value here, benefit hospital number 8. The question asks you what's the impact of being a high competitive health insurance market on hospital revenue. Sorry about this revenue. You can compare the means between 3 markets, and if the mean and if the ANOVA is less than 5%, you can say there is a significant difference between one of the markets, but you are not sure which market. To find that, you need to answer to this question at the very end. Let me run this part of the question because this is important for answering this question also. In the question number 3, at the very end of this question, there is a regression model. Q3 regression, I believe in this. Okay, here. If you run this, you can, okay, this is it. This is the way you can see the impact of, let me review the question. The impact of benefit. What was the question? How is the you think, okay, what's the impact of being a high competitive revenue health insurance market on hospital revenue? This is it. Look at this. The question compare the benefits and Herfindahl index. To answer this, if you look at the Herfindahl index here, the impact is negative. So the negative, the Herfindahl being in the, the Herfindahl index, it means being in a competitive market has a negative impact on benefit. This is the way to answer this question. The other way I explained already, you need to just look at the means and then see which mean is is bigger, higher mean. So based on the higher mean, you can justify and which of them has higher mean. The other, let me explain again. First of all, need to look at the ANOVA test. The ANOVA test shows you that at least one of this market is different. To answer that, you need to look at the regression model. Or you can run two t-tests. The first t-test compare the hospital revenue between for-profit and non-for, between high and moderate, and then the second t-test is run the t-test between high and low impact and see which of them is different. So for answering this question, there is three ways. First of all, look at the means, ANOVA test. Second, look at the regression model, and third one is just do two t-tests and see the result. I did not report the two t-tests. Hopefully you can find that. I expected you can do that here because it's very easy. You just need to generate 3 data sets, and then I believe you have all the data sets here. You just need to use this t-test, and I'm gonna run something different. You can use this, for example, this for-profit and non-for-profit here, correct? This is the data set you have. Let me see, high competitive and moderate competitive. You can change this. I'm running for per capita beds, and then the other t-test should be high competitive with low competitive. So based on this result, there is no significant, that's 10%. There is no significant differences for per capita bed between high competitive and moderate competitive, but there is not significant difference between these two, between high competitive and also the low competitive. So we compare the high with moderate and high with low. You can do the same things with this variable, say benefit here, hospital revenue with the revenue of the hospital. Okay, this is the question number 3. This part of the code is for question number 3. So basic, there is a note here. Make sure to review that this question 3 started from here till here. This is it. Okay, question number 4. The question number 4 is very similar to the question number 4 in the exercise. And for this question, you have a table. In this table, you need to report n, mean, and standard deviation for a few variables here, hospital bed, and this is part of codes that you can run this. Let me show you here. I like to give you some numbers just in case you want to compare your numbers with this error inside, because I need to generate something here. Okay, what's the error? Evaluation object Medicare discharge is not found, so I need to generate this data set. Medicare discharge is this someplace. We need to generate this data, Medicare discharge. let me run them. It's at that point. Question number from here. This is medical discharge. Let me run this from here. And then let me, if you run all the code together, you have this variable, but I'm going to run step by step, so I cannot see that here. So this is it. You have these numbers here. These are the means, and these are the standard deviation. I'm giving those numbers to you to just to compare your code. These are the means. These are the numbers of observation. This number is 2000. All of them is 2000, right? Only two of them, 190. This is for Medicare discharge ratio, and Medicaid is 9063, and the median household is 2000. So all of them is 2000 except these two, Medicare and Medicaid. Then I believe the last of the code. Okay, then you need to go over the models. We have 4 models here, and we have a table you need to complete it based on the coefficient. Okay, I have almost a few more minutes before I like to have this section finished. The first model, under linear model, and predict the differences between hospital bed and non-for-profit on wage. Okay, this is the model. I'm gonna run this model and show you how to for running this model, you first of all need to just generate the new variables as a factor variable, the ownership. And the first model is this: total hospital employee on payer. If you run this model, you can see this impact here. Hospital beds, owner 1, 2, 3. This is the point I need to explain to you here. I believe in some point I explained the for-profit and non-for-profit. Let me see. I believe the 0 is here. This is the note. 0 is for non-for-profit, 1 for for-profit, public. Basically, when we change this variable to the categorical variable using the factor variable, the regression model report only for-profit, public, and other. There is no coefficient for this variable, non-for-profit. Basically, the coefficient for this is 0 here. You cannot see anything for this in any model because this is the reference variable here. This is the point for this table because basically you can see for-profit, public, other. For-profit is minus, public is minus, and other is a positive. So there is positive relationship between wage and hospital beds, 5.99, and this is significant. Yes, this is significant. And the ownership, if we consider other ownership, we cannot see any result for non-for-profit. This is the point for this question. And you also need to report the coefficient for this. You know that already, the coefficient for hospital. You know, some of you don't report the first thing. Intercept is the consent. I believe I didn't ask you to report the consent. So there is no consent here. You don't need to report the intercept. Just go directly to the coefficient. The coefficient for hospital bed is this one. And the standard error is this. This is the standard error for this. We already discussed about this. The other things is the n. The n is the, okay. For finding the n, I say n plus degree of freedom. The degree of freedom is here. Plus n plus number of group. Or the easiest way, just report the degree of freedom plus number of variable. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 variable, and we have degree of freedom is 990. Okay, 998 plus 4. We have almost, I believe, 10,002 observation for this variable. This is for the first model. And for the second model, you have this. I'm running this to show you how you compare your numbers. This is the second model. The impact of membership on payer and teaching status of the hospital. This is positive relationship, but this is not significant. The system membership is positive and significant. And the third model is system membership, hospital revenue, system membership, teaching hospital, Medicare discharge. I can see the system membership is positive, teaching hospital is positive, Medicare and Medicare is negative and significant, Medicaid is positive but not significant, and finally the last model is this one. You can see here total revenue, system membership is positive, significant, look at this, significant, teaching hospital positive, not significant, total hospital cost positive, significant, Medicare discharge negative, Medicaid positive, not significant, per capita bed negative and significant, and finally median household income is positive and significant. This is all you need to report in this table and then discuss your finding. Finally, based on all of the result of these tables, you need to have at least one paragraph and discuss your finding as a manager of the hospital. You are in the position of the manager of the hospital and you want to discuss what you want to do with this hospital. You can say, okay, is it okay, look at this model. If being in a membership is a positive impact, so one of the options, if you want to suggest 3 policies, the first policy is being a membership. So the first policy is being a membership. This is a positive impact. The second policy is, okay, we are going to finish this call. I will see you in the next section. Okay, let's me back to the class and started. Okay. Okay, this is the second live session. Just trying to connect. Okay, I believe I'm here. Hello class, can you hear me? Some of you please answer. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Okay. I believe I finished the exercise. Everything I wanted to say, I finished that already. So can you see also my screen or no? Okay. I finished the explanation for the exercise. I'm here for any of question you have. So let me move this to this. Okay, before I going that, can you see my screen or no? It's not shared longer.
No, I'm not seeing your screen.
Okay. Okay, let me share my screen. This is it. Share. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, class, any question? No question?
This is Farron. Can you hear me?
Yes, Farron, yes.
Thanks for providing all this instruction. It's great.
You're welcome.
I think it was in the first session, you showed us how to create the table so that we don't have to transfer the numbers one
Yes.
by one into
Yes.
the table.
Yes, yes.
That's really time consuming.
I can show you here. Let me go, and I believe it was in week 2 or week, let me open the file. Yes, you can, you can save all the, let me bring it for you. I like to explain, to show you here. Let me see, share folder, weekly exercise code. Probably it was in, I guess it was in week 2. I guess it was here. Yes, this is it. This is the way. If you want to do that, you can save. This is the final exam, right? For example, let's see. You can save the result. Let me bring that one more time. You can save the result as a variables here. So for example, let's call it QYEC final exam, right? And then QYEC final exam mean. This is the mean. This is QYEC final exam a standard deviation. Let's call it the standard deviation. And then when you have this, you can write another line here, another line here, and write a table and write it QYEC final exam mean, QYEC final exam standard deviation, and QYEC Q1 standard deviation. Okay, and if I run this, all the results will be saved here. And if I run this one, I should be able to see UMUC Q1. Let me go to the C UMUC Q1. I believe this is it. This is all the numbers you need for the mean. And here, the other way you can do this is just copy this, paste here, paste this. Oh, sorry, it's a mistake. Cancel. No, let me close this. Paste the special. Let me copy one more time. Paste the special value, transpose, and you see all the numbers here. These are all the means. And then you can look at this standard deviation, and the same things here. You can paste here and value, transpose, and these are all the standard deviation. And then you can easily copy and paste. This is SD. Let's add this one. You can copy and paste in this. This is 1. This is SD. This is SD for this. Usually I keep this if you make a mistake like me, and the mistake is I have to go and paste over here. So usually it's better to keep all the label at the very final step. So, and this you can have these two space. One, I left one of them here. This is the N, right? This is the N. This is the mean. This is the standard deviation. This is the N. This is the mean. This is the standard deviation. This is for p-value. And then you can, the good things is you can do all of them here, not only for this question 1, you can do for the question 2. You can keep the question 2 here. Same thing for question 2, Q2 mean, Q2 standard deviation. And let me go with the question number 3 also. Question 3 is here, Q3 mean, Q3 standard deviation, and then you could have the file at the very end, this code, and export them to the okay things here. Even you could do for the final for the week 4. It doesn't matter which place you are reporting it. I'm putting here because this is the most accurate place to this. It was Q2, Q1 is here. You can say the same thing for Q2. and make sure to change that to, otherwise gonna replace Q2 and Q3 and Q3, and finally Q4. Q4, but make sure to have a Q4 here. Q4 mean this way, you know, RStudio consider this as a code, as a variable, so and report the variable later. Q4 standard deviation, save it. So if we run all of them, we can see all of them step by step, so we don't need even to go. Let me try this. I believe it's gonna be work here. Let me try this. And this is, thank you for bringing this up, because this is really important to make sure you are, you know, converting all the number correct. This is not only time consuming, saving more time, but also you are making sure all this result is correct. And if I believe if I report it's still running the code, if I see this, if I run all of them, object form is not available. Where is the, okay, I call it for QM. I then for, okay, Q4M. Okay, I have to do something like this. Final exam, right? Q4 final exam, Q4. You have to use exactly the same name. And then we have one. Could have this. We have, because it's already open, cannot write the code again. This is 2. What happened to this? Let me see that. This is Q2. We go step by step, run that. This is Q2. Oh, I call it Q2M. So you can, yeah, I can Q2M, Q2SD. I call it here Q2M. Q2 standard deviation should run here. Q2M. This is it. We have to do it after. I was thinking we can do that here. Q2M. Oh, Q2M is here. Q2M, Q2 standard deviation. Come on. Here. Where is that? Okay. I believe I remove one of the codes here. Q2. Okay, here. I believe by mistake I remove all. No, this is here. And if you go here to drive C, you can find that all of them is here. Can you see Q2 is here. You can do that for the other variables. This is Q2. We have 0, 1, 2, 3. And you just need to report only 2 of them, right? For the Q2 there is 4 variables, but I ask you only to report 2 of them. This is the differences you need to be considered. And the same for Q3. I believe the Q3 I also changed, save it as a Q3 like this. And if you go to Q3, you can see here mean standard deviation. That's it. Okay, any other? Sure, you're welcome. Any other question? You can look at this video to see how I generate, or you can just use Vic2. I believe I shared this code with you. Vic2, the only place you need to change is this name and this name. And this name should be exactly the name you are calling the variables. Okay, any other question?
I guess I have one more question.
Go ahead. Yes, sure.
I think I heard you say that if you use the sync file, it'll only do it once.
Yes. If you are
in the last exercise, I was trying to, I was trying to get it to do it over again to check my work, and I could never get it to recreate, and it made me think I was doing something wrong.
Okay.
But I guess what I hear now is you can only do it one time.
No, you can do it as long as much as you want, but the only point is you need to close the sync here, and then if you receive this message, it does mean your sync is already closed. If you don't receive this message, does mean your sync was open. If you open the sync here, let me run this code, and if I run this, I cannot see the variable anything here. I only can see the codes.
Okay.
If you want to see, for example, let me run this one. I cannot see anything here. If I want to see something, I have to close the sync. And let me see this here. If I run this, you can see the result in the console.
Right. Okay.
If yes, that's the point. You can select all the code and report one time, export all the result in the sync command. Or if you want to go step by step, you need to make sure you are closing the sync. So this is my suggestion. First of all, run all of them one more time, keep everything in the sync command, then back and okay, I need to mute this. Okay, that's good. And then, okay, let me repeat one more time. First of all, you can just run all of them, and have a sync separately, and then close the sync. If you run the sync, automatically it will close. Otherwise, some of the students start the sync from here and go step by step. Then you need to make sure you are closing the sync. You can see the result in the console.
Okay.
Yep.
I usually do it both ways.
That's a good idea. Perfect. Specifically when you want to look at the end, it's very easy to just look at the console instead of that.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Also, you know how to copy the plot. Whenever you run a sync, whenever you run all the codes one time, you have all the plots here. So usually you can just switch between plot by pressing forward and backward here by these two. And then that's as easy as this. You don't need to run each of them separately. Yeah. Okay, Carlos, do you have any other question?
No, thank you. Aaron, that was a great question. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no question, Dr. Azir, do you have anything to say, to share with us?
No, thank you so much for
Okay.
providing this information.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, Carlos,
One more question.
go ahead. Yes, sure, of course.
All right.
No problem.
So the running our studio
Mhm.
actually did get easier for me as the weeks went along.
Okay, very good.
But I think I struggled with the interpretation questions
Mm-hmm.
each time, and they just got more difficult, it seemed, or complex.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so, is there something like some sort of pearl of wisdom that you could share of just kind of what to think about when you're trying to explain the differences between the characteristics or the benefit or which hospital, which system makes, you know how the questions are asked.
Yeah, are you talking about the final exam?
Well, it was each week there was a question like
okay.
that. Explain which hospital, not profit or profit, had a better performance or.
Let me run this one of the question and just explain right here. So this is a great question. Let me run with week 1, and I'm going through the t-test and give you some example how we can evaluate them. So this is week 1, and we are comparing the hospital between 2011 and 2012. Okay. I have some error here, and the error is because I need to generate this variable. Let me see. Okay, this is all the result for the t-test, right? I'm going to compare the 2011 and 2012 during this question. This is, I believe the first place is 9, okay, 9-1. This is it. The first of all, I'm looking at the hospital bed. The hospital bed, there is no significant here, so I'm not worried about this. I look at the other one. This one is significant. The p-value is less than 5. Till now, I have the total hospital employee on payer is significant differences. There is no difference here. There's difference here. Second difference is the intern and residents, number of intern and resident. Okay, and the number 5, there's no significant. I don't worry about this. No significantly here. Nothing 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 here. Okay. Based on this p-value, this is my conclusion for question like question number 1. Even there is some differences between the means, because the means between 2011 and 2012 changes. If you look at the question number, let's look at this here. The means is different, correct? Let me compare the means for you here. Let me remove that standard deviation and only have the means. Look at these numbers here. Doesn't show anything. Look at this too. Even the mean is different, right? This is a 229, 216, 116, 100, 1067, 155. I can say even there is a differences between means, but only there is 2 places that has significant differences. For example, the number of payer was significant difference, p-value was less, and the number of intern. And if you look at the mean, you see there's 79 interns in 2011 but 4 in 2012, and you have number of payer 1167 and 155. Based on this result and based on my finding on the p-value, I can say to answer this question, I will say the significant differences between 2011 and 2012 is only in number of paid employee and number of residents. Also, to answer this question, there is no significant differences between any variable of socioeconomic variable, but because it's at least there is 2 variables here that they are significant, I can say any performance changes in 2011 and 2012 back to the hospital characteristics, not socioeconomic characteristics. So this is the type of answer you can just write for the kind of this question. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
perfect. Sure, welcome. Class, we have a few more minutes before the session ended automatically. So if you have any other question, I'm here. Okay. If not, I wish you the very best. Thank you for being here, and I'm glad you did a great job. Officially, class will be closed next week, but non-officially it's closed already by tonight. For week 8, you only need to work on the final exam, read the material, and then I wish you the very best. Thank you for being super active in the class, and thank you so much. You did a great job. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye.